Yeah, welcome again to today's lecture. We have started talking on water coil, and we have defined what is water coil, and we have classified the water coil into three categories. Amine water coil, which is involved histamine and serotonin. We also have a peptide autocoil, which involve angiotensin, bradykinin, and generally kinin. And also, we have also discussed the lipid autocoil, which involve prostaglandin, thromboxane, and leukotriene. And today we have also have a comprehensive lecture on the histamine, looking at the structure, biosynthesis from histidine amino acid through the process of decarboxylation using decarboxylase enzymes. Today, I welcome you again, my student, to the academic boardroom. We proceed to take the second example of amine autocoil, which is what we will be discussing. Amine autocoils, we'll be discussing serotonin, 5-hydroxytryptamine. Serotonin is a monoamine neurotransmitter, meaning that it derives from amino acid and acts as a neurotransmitter in both central and peripheral nervous system. It is majorly located in gastrointestinal tract. Approximately about 90% of the body serotonin is found in gastrointestinal tract, while the remaining serotonin is found in the blood, platelet, and the central nervous system, CNS, particularly in the brain. This is the structure of serotonin of 5-tryptamine. This is the structure, the chemical structure is classified as an endoamine, which contain endo-ring structure derived from amino acid tryptophan. The biosynthesis of serotonin of 5-hydroxytryptamine, it involves two steps. The first step is hydroxylation of tryptophan. And then the second step is decarboxylation of the 5-hydroxytryptophan, which is generated from the hydroxylation of tryptophan. The first step involves the amino acid tryptophan, which is converted to or into 5-hydroxy tryptophan by enzyme tryptophan hydroxylase. This reaction is a rate-limited step in serotonin synthesis. What that one means, the amount of amino acid tryptophan available determine this reaction. After the first step, that is hydroxylation of tryptophan, the second step, as I've earlier said, involve the carboxylation of the product of hydroxylation of tryptophan, which is 5-hydroxy tryptophan. This is decarboxylate or discarboxylated into 5-hydroxy tryptamine. And this reaction of decarboxylation of 5-hydroxy tryptophan to 5-hydroxy tryptamine involve the enzyme aromatic early amino acid decarboxylase. Enzyme amino acid decarboxylase is involved. Then in the presence of these enzymes, the 5-hydroxy tryptophan is then decarboxylated into 5-hydroxy tryptamine, which is actually the serotonin. This is the biosynthesis. I hope it makes sense. We can further elucidate the serotonin biosynthesis pathway from the amino acid tryptophan, which I said earlier explained, it happened in two enzymatic reaction. This is the early tryptophan, which undergo hydroxylation under the enzymatic reaction of tryptophan hydroxylase to produce 5-hydroxy tryptophan. This 5-hydroxy tryptophan will also undergo another enzymatic reaction by the removal of carbon dioxide through the process of decarboxylation. And then this reaction is under the enzymatic reaction of aromatic early amino acid decarboxylase to produce 5-hydroxy tryptamine, which is the serotonin. So this is the simple pathway by which serotonin of 5-hydroxy tryptamine is synthesized. Please take note of this. This is a very simple, it appears complex, but it's a very simple pathway that synthesizes serotonin. Amino acid is involved. That is early tryptophan, and this has to be acted upon by tryptophan hydroxylase to produce 5-hydroxy early tryptophan. And the second step will involve the decarboxylation of 5-hydroxy early tryptophan, and then under the enzymatic reaction of an early amino acid decarboxylase to produce serotonin or our 5-hydroxy tryptophan. Don't forget, just look at it very critically and let it sink onto your head, student. The location where serotonin is being synthesized or is being found. Number one, it is located in the brain. The serotonin is synthesized in the serotonergic neuron, which is predominantly in the RAFU nucleus, which is then projected to various regions involve the mood, the cognition. It is also located, the location also synthesized in the peripheries, that the location which this two step, that the biosynthesis of serotonin take place in the brain, especially at the serotonergic neuron. It also take place in the periphery, especially in the enterochromaffin cells in the gastrointestinal system. We produce most of the body's serotonin. The biosynthesis, I would like to repeat again, takes place in the brain, especially in the serotonergic neuron. It also takes place in the enterochromaffin in the GIT, gastrointestinal system. After it's been synthesized, as you know, it has to, the metabolism or the degradation of serotonin is also involved enzymatic reaction. The enzymes that are involved in each metabolism are monoamine oxidase, NAO, specifically catalyze the oxidative deamination of serotonin monoamine acid, which is catalyzes the oxidation of the deamination of serotonin. And after this reaction, the end product is actually major metabolite. Right? The end product is 5-hydroxyacetic acid, 5-hydroxyacetic acid, which is actually is excreted in the urine, and also it can be mentioned for clinical assessment of serotonin level. The oxidation of the serotonin produce 5-hydroxyacetic acid, and the organ of secretion is in the kidney, actually found in the urine. This is the pathway. You may like to get yourself. This is the pathway for the metabolism and the degradation of serotonin. Of course, this is our serotonin, 5-hydroxytyptamine serotonin, under the enzymatic reaction of monoamine oxidase to produce 5-hydroxyindoacetaldehyde. And this 5-hydroxyindoacetaldehyde will undergo enzymatic reaction using aldehyde dehydrogenase to produce 5-hydroxyindoacetic acid. Very simple pathway. You need to master this. The enzyme involved, two enzymes are involved, monoamine oxidase, and then the second enzyme is aldehyde dehydrogenase. When these enzymes are available, the 5-hydroxytryptamine serotonin can be metabolized into 5-hydroxyindoacetic acid, which we have earlier said it is excreted in the urine. Yes, let's proceed to look at the theory of function of serotonin across various organ systems. Number one, central nervous system. In central nervous system, serotonin serves as a mood regulation. It regulates the mood. Serotonin levels significantly affect the mood. That is to say, low level of serotonin are associated with depression. Of course, it is actually called happy hormone, but if we have a low level of serotonin, is associated with depression, while optimal level contribute to the feeling of well-being and happiness. That's why we call it happy hormone. So it regulates the mood. Whether they are going to be depression, it's a function of serotonin, and also well-being and happiness is a function of serotonin. This is how it works. When you have low level of serotonin, it leads to depression. And also optimal level of serotonin, it leads to well-being and happiness. It's also the second function under the central nervous system organ. It also involved in sleep-wake cycle. Sleep-wake cycle. Students, you still remember the sleep cycle that involve the non-rapid eyes movement and rapid eyes movement. So serotonin promotes wakefulness and also is a precursor to melatonin. Melatonin is actually the hormone that is secreted to make individual to sleep. That is why the melatonin agonists are used in the treatment of insomnia. Okay, so a hormone involved in sleep regulation. So serotonin involved because it promotes wakefulness and is a precursor to melatonin. So once the melatonin is secreted, then the problem of insomnia will be solved. Number three, under the central nervous system organ is cognition and learning. Serotonin play a role in memory, learning, and other cognitive processes by modulating neural connectivity and synaptic plasticity. It involves in cognition and learning. On the peripheral nervous system, the gastrointestinal, it has a gastrointestinal function in GIT tract, that is gastrointestinal function. Serotonin stimulates smooth muscle contraction and therefore influencing motility and peristalsis. It is also play a role in GIT secretion. In vascular and platelet function, serotonin released by platelet promote vasoconstriction and contribute to blood clotting mechanism by aiding platelet aggregation. And also at the cardiovascular function, if serotonin regulates vascular tone, serotonin acts as a vasoconstrictor in certain blood vessels. It's also a vasodilator in other. Causes constriction, can also be a vasodilator in order. Yes, we look at the serotonin receptors. Serotonin, just as we discussed in our histamine, that the receptors are needed for serotonin to actually function. So many receptors has been identified for serotonin. There are about 7 major family of serotonin receptor, and each of them have their own subtype, which differ in structure, function, and location. So about 7 major family of serotonin receptor has been identified, and each of these 7 major family also have their subtype. Of course, they differ in structure, function, and their location. Let's quickly examine the different type of serotonin receptors. Serotonin receptor 5-HT1. That is proper way of identifying them was simply mean that 5-hydroxy tryptamine 1, but let's call it 5-HT1 receptor. Mostly they are inhibitory. You still remember? We have excitatory receptors and also inhibitory receptor. They are found in the brain, and they mediate effects such as anxiety and modulation of appetite. H1, 5-HT1 receptors, they are found in the brain. They are inhibitory, they are found in the brain. They actually mediate effects such as decrease in anxiety and also modulation of appetite. The second receptor is H5-HT2 receptor. This one is typically excitatory. It is implicated in neural excitation, mood regulation, and platelet aggregation. The third one is 5-HT3 receptors, which is actually inotropic receptors, which is ligand-gated ion receptor. It is majorly found in GIT, that is gastrointestinal tract, brainstem, and these are involved in nausea and vomiting reflex. And then the 5-HT4 receptors primarily located in GIT and the CNS, central nervous system, where they promote GIT motility and also affect cognitive function. The H5T5, H5T6, and H5T7 receptor, they are less understood, but thought to play a role in memory, mood, and then circadian rhythm. So meaning that we pay more attention to H1, to 5-HT1, 5-HT2, 5-HT3, and 5-HT4, even though the 5-HT5, 6, and 7 have been discovered, but their mechanism of action is not well understood, even though they are thought to have played a role in memory, mood, and all of those things. So let's look at the significance of serotonin in mental health pharmacology. Number 1, mood disorder. Mood disorder. Low level of serotonin has been linked to depression and anxiety and mood instability. The pharmacological agents that are used to solve this problem are selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. Drug like fluoxetine, sertraline, and paraxetine inhibit serotonin reuptake. You see, remember, once the serotonin is reuptake, then there are going to be depression. But if you see any drug that can inhibit the reuptake, then you have sufficient serotonin in the system, and then you have solved the problem of depression, anxiety, and more stability. Okay, increased heat availability is Netflix. These are the first-line treatment for depression and anxiety disorder. Because once you have inhibited this will have more serotonin available in synaptic cleft. And this drug has been found to have selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, fluoxetine, sertraline, paroxetine. They are all inhibitors of serotonin reuptake. The second one is tricyclic antidepressant. This also inhibits serotonin and non-epinephrine reuptake, but has more side effects than selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. We also have a monoamine oxidase inhibitors. It inhibits the breakdown of serotonin by monoamine oxidase. We still remember how this enzyme metabolize serotonin. So we need to inhibit it so that we have more serotonin in the system. So it increases serotonin level, and these are effective for atypical depression, but have a significant dietary restriction and side effect. The next one is 5-HT1A agonist. This medication, like buspirone, targets specific receptor and are used as anxiolytic without the sedative of benzodiazepine. They are all serotonin antagonists because they promote the presence of serotonin to actually solve the problem of mood disorder like depression, anxiety, and mood stability. So we talk about selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, drug like fluoxetine. We also talk about tricyclic antidepressant, TCA, which also used in the treatment of depression, and also monoamine oxidase inhibitors, which also is effective, and also 5-HT1A agonists are used for the treatment of depression as a result of decline level of serotonin in the body. I hope this makes sense. Yes, well, that's it. I think I need to talk about serotonin syndrome. Serotonin syndrome is a potentially fatal condition caused by excess serotonin activity, often due to drug interaction or overdose. And these are the symptoms of serotonin when you have excessive serotonin activity in the body. It's known as serotonin syndrome. And then these are the symptoms. It includes hyperthermia, muscle rigidity, tremor, confusion, and autonomic instability. These are the symptoms of serotonin syndrome. And this can be treated. Number one, you can discontinue serotonin elevating drug like selective inhibitor, monoamine inhibitor, tricyclic antidepressant. You should discontinue it when there is serotonin syndrome. And of course, you can have what we call supportive care, and sometimes administer serotonin antagonist and serotonin antagonist. Let's also quickly look at the role of serotonin in gastrointestinal tract. At the enteric nervous system, ENS, often refers to as the second brain. The enteric nervous system is rich in serotonin with endochromaffin cell releasing it to stimulate the GIT motility. So GIT disorder, dysregulated serotonin signal is implicated in conditions like irritable bowel syndrome, which can present with symptoms such as abdominal pain, diarrhea, and constipation. And then to treat this, we need 5 serotonin receptor, 5-H serotonin receptor targeting drug for GIT head. But number 1, you need serotonin agonists, such as procalopride, used to stimulate GIT motility in chronic constipation. Then you also need serotonin antagonists, such as progesterone, which is used as an antiemic to control nausea and vomiting by blocking serotonin action in the brain and also GIT. Yes. Other physiological and pathological role of serotonin. Number 1, thermoregulation. Serotonin is a hypothalamus in the hypothalamus, help regulate the body temperature. Also, as an endocrine influence, serotonin can stimulate or inhibit the release of various hormones impacting function like metabolism, growth, and also stress response. Also pain modulation. Serotonin modulates the sensation of pain in the spinal cord, where it can either increase or decrease pain perception depending on the receptor interaction. Thank you very much for your time. I believe you have learned 1 or 2 things, and I believe that the science of serotonin, it appears simple. So thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for this. Okay.